Right, so it's time for Joining Us Interactive, and Aisha Ibrahim is back, and she's going to be taking us through it. Welcome once again, Aisha.
Thank you, Israel. And like I said, a lot of things will be happening today. Don't forget to join us via facebook.com/joinnewsontv, and on Twitter is at Join News on TV. On WhatsApp, the number is 0560-800,000. Adding your name and location makes it easier to read your messages, but please desist from calling. All right, today is International Day for the Eradication of Poverty under the theme Moving from Humiliation and Exclusion to Participation, Ending Poverty in All Its Forms. Now, Ghana is the first country in the Sub-Saharan Africa to meet the MDG 1 target of halving extreme poverty by 2015. Question: how can poverty be reduced drastically, if not eradicated? Can we ever eradicate poverty in Ghana?
Looking at the world and its setting and how it's evolving and how things are happening now, a specific period of time, I think poverty will be eradicated. Looking at how there is speed in infrastructure development and how people are investing into farmlands and agricultural production.
I agree with his points, but I want to say that mostly in Ghana here, I think most people depend mainly on the government to do everything for them. But if we take out that mindset from our brains, everything will be perfect. We can set up businesses on our own without relying on the government.
I think it's not something that can actually materialize within the coming years or anytime soon. Poverty eradication needs so much investment, and I don't think the Ghanaian government, or for that matter the African governments, are ready to make those investments.
How do you think we can reduce, if not eradicate it at all?
Government can provide, especially go to the agricultural sector, whereby he can take up the youth to work on the farm, because right now most of the youth are eager to work in the offices and they are abolishing our agricultural things. Yeah, they are ignoring that one and they are all running to the office side, but that shouldn't be in the case.
I think going for it's going to be a very lengthy thing to do. If we even want to reduce it to a very significant portion, if we really want to get that impact on the Ghanaian life, it's going to be a very long thing to do and a very hectic thing for the government to do.
You know, it's not always that you have to finish school and get a job. Sometimes you have to finish school and create jobs. Once you create jobs, I think there is that kind of responsibility. Once everybody has that thing in mind that, okay, when I finish school, there is something I have to do to support my country. It's not only in offices. The agriculture sector is depleting. There is something that I have to do to help our Ghanaian economy. I think that will also help and work.
I think in as much as we need the job creators, we need the employees as well. So not everybody would have to create jobs. You understand? I'm not disputing the fact that we need the entrepreneurs. We do need them. Very importantly, we need the entrepreneurs. But the issue is, are we just looking at people who are just coming to be entrepreneurs and wouldn't actually make enough dividends for their investments? But until we want to be able to do away with some of the cankers that has written so deep into our system, like corruption, some of these things, you know, will be like seeing Canaan but not being able to step our foot there.
Seeing Canaan but not being able to step there. Let's see what people are saying on Facebook, Israel.
All right, so Farouk Sani says, until accommodation becomes acquirable, then people can have good and peaceful, safe place to sleep without struggle. Then poverty is God's one way of ruling his world he created. Kwesi Watson says, oh yes, if and only our leaders stop painting buses, buying gold watches, buying V8, stop putting up filling stations, and stop using taxpayers' money to raise our confirm. All these monies invested into the economy. Prince Nuruddin says, only God knows the best. Poverty can only be eradicated in Ghana by the mandate of God Almighty. Lucius Darius says, you see, some government officials are saying Ghana has developed and a lot of employment created. Posterity will judge us all. All Saints says, we can only eradicate poverty in Ghana if only we can stop leaders who only think about themselves. Joy says, poverty can be eradicated by the regular and adequate payment of workers and pensioners' salaries and wages, promotion and increase in workers' salaries, provision of companies for youth employment opportunities, and provision of free education and farming. Fusaini says it can be possible if some people stop being greedy and selfish.
And Olu from Yendi says, hello, Honorable Aisha. Let me remind Ghanaians that poverty is not only the lack of money, but rather the lack of efficient knowledge to use one's limited resources to satisfy his or her unlimited wants. Hence, I suppose we look for knowledge in the course of our undertakings. We will totally eradicate poverty. And he says that, Aisha, you and Miss G take care, right? We will take care because you care. Okay, this is from Bambakia Samet from Fumbisi. He says the only way we can eradicate poverty in Ghana is by marriage. Really? The rich should marry the poor. And vice versa. Apart from this method, the gap between the rich and poor can never be bridged. And the rich will forever be rich and vice versa. And it's from Bambakia Samed. Mohammed Adnan from Salaga says, hey, poverty to be eradicated in Ghana, I don't think that can ever happen since our leaders are all greedy and selfish, because the money that will be used for the eradication will be used in buying their V8, Range Rovers, and their fatty foods. Now, in a case that most people probably don't know about, Europe's highest court, the European Court of Justice, ruled that time taken to travel to and from work at the beginning and end of each day should count as working time under the law. And the question I ask, is this a good deal? How will that impact on the job?
It's going to be unfair to the employer. But then from the employee perspective, it's quite okay. I mean, then if it's like 1 hour I used from my house to work, then it's okay. I mean, I get some incentive for every 1 hour, which I won't work. I'll just sit in the bus and then go to work. So within that 1 hour, I'm getting something. So it's quite fair to me.
It's because of work that you took the pain and then coming to the office, so you need to just be paid. That's what I think.
But then you don't add up to productivity. I mean, coming home from...
You are coming because of work. It's because of work you are coming.
Well, I also don't agree with. I don't agree with her, because you being sitting in your car to work, or you boarding a bus to work, you've not done anything. If maybe you are supposed to produce canned, let's say sardine, well, you coming to work, you've not done anything yet, so we can't add it to your.
It should be added because something might happen to you on the way.
Sometimes when something happens to you, most companies pay for it, but not the fact that you sit in your car listening to music, dancing, driving all your way. You even drop your kids and all, killing two birds with a stone, and in the end you want them to pay for it whilst they've paid you. No, I don't agree with it.
I don't think it's that up to productivity. I mean, you're just wasting the company's money.
You are being encouraged to come to work, so you'd always come to work on time and then every day.
But productivity is output per man hour. What you put in is what, after you sold it, that's what you get. If you want me to keep, why? No.
They want to use to boost the, let's say, how should I say, the morale of the employee.
No, but don't you know companies give out incentives to their workers?
Imagine this law is in Africa. Look at our bad roads, and look at the way you hustle in traffic before you get to your workplace. So you mean the workers should pay me? I mean, some take as long as 2 hours to get to work. So that means the company is basically running out of bankruptcy.
Look at the stress that person took from coming to the office. The roads, the traffic, everything. You need to be paid.
So
people are so passionate about this and coming to think that it will favor the employee more than the employer.
At this rate, then you're also going to get employers who are going to say, okay, I need people who are within a certain radius from the workplace.
Exactly so.
So then it takes them 5 minutes to come to work.
Good. And so that means people are going to lose jobs.
So those who are coming from 1 hour away, oh please.
No way.
I can't hide. Koshi says the decision by the EU court is spot on. It makes great sense, because if workers can be reprimanded for being late, it should be fairly argued that travel time to and from work is also part of work, which I dare say should be catered and compensated for. Kwesi Watson says, if such a law is passed in Ghana, people will work for only 3 hours in Accra because of bad traffic situation in Ghana. And in effect, it will affect productivity negatively. Rafiq says it means that when you come earlier before work starts, it will be calculated as part of your salary, which will increase productivity and also to prevent French leave at work. Sana says it's a good deal because in economics we have something that we call implicit and explicit cost, and that counts the energy used in doing other things apart from the work itself. Koto says, you asked me to come to work at 6, meaning I have to wake up at 4 a.m. to start preparation, depriving me of good sleep. You will have to pay for it. King Cello says, are we in Europe to talk about this? Give us a break and put serious issues facing our dear country to discuss. Okay, that's your view. And Philip says, but how can the employers mark the time you set off? That's interesting. That's it.
And Yakubu from Techiman says, yes, it is a good law. And Papa Uncle from, okay, let me take Patrick from Gassaut before. He says that policy yield results in the developed countries because they value time and money all the same, not a country like Ghana. Otherwise, people will tend to going 12 to 1 p.m. Well, your message is not complete. And this is from Bogolo. He says, Aisha, this will not work in Ghana. Our roads are bad. Until we work on our railway lines, we should forget this. And this one is coming from Shasino from Sunyani. He says, poverty can be eradicated if our leaders are committed to the development of the country and for their own selfish interests. Why can't our leaders ask the developed countries why they have developed? And that's from, okay, Papa Nko from Samale. He says, it's going, okay, from Damongo. He says, it's going to be unfair to the employer because the time spent from home to workplace does not impact positively on the work. I don't think it is a fair deal. It will only encourage laziness on the part of employees. And now the final one. Scientists tracked 1,000 couples who were either married or in serious relationships over 5 years and then looked for patterns among those who were still together. They found that men should be 5 or more years older than their partners, and women should have received more education than their partners to make their marriage work. What do you think about this research?
Oh, I disagree, definitely, because you could have someone who is younger and might not be smart enough compared to someone who is older. So marriage being an institution that is highly respected, it's not all about the person being young and smart, because you have uneducated people who are really smart. Even without being to school, they act matured in the sense that those who have been to school and seem to be smart can't apply with, and in as much as they feel they are smart, there's a sense of disrespect to their spouse, so it becomes a problem in the marriage, in the institution of marriage.
You can't say young, smart and educated. No, there's some people who are very good, like they are grown-ups, and then they are also smart, and then not only young people are smart. No. So I agree with what he said. There are people who are older and they get married and then they still divorce anyway. So it doesn't matter whether you're going to marry a young, smart and educated person, and then that will reduce the divorce rates. No.
Yes, divorce is divorce, whether you're young or old. And definitely it's what happens within the marriage and how you understand the situation and handle that situation at that moment is what will make the marriage stand or fail. Other than that, then the divorce definitely will go on several occasions. Yeah.
Would you marry someone older than you?
Well, in this 21st era, 21st century, nah.
I think age doesn't really matter. Okay, there's some people who are very young and they're doing things like they are matured. There's some people who are old and they do things like kids. They do things kids wouldn't even do. Okay, so I think I would marry someone who is younger, providing the person is matured and I go along with the person. Because you can't marry because you are in love with the person or the person has this or the person has that. It's maturity.
Okay, so a very interesting comments from the streets of Accra. Let's see what people are saying on Facebook.
All right, because she says, I would have preferred to read the abstract to have yet more understanding, but I think the findings are largely true. The only point I disagree with is whether the lady has to necessarily be more educated than the man. Boy Tina says, oh, lies. It's all about maturity and not age. Sample size was too small in methodology. He says he thinks it's shabby research. Papa Kofi says, fact, no doubt about this. And Charles Akresi said, true. I mean, my own thoughts, I think it's the context. This research, I'm sure, was done somewhere in Europe or some other place.
Exactly.
We're in a different setting altogether, and I'm not sure it will apply.
In this country.
Yeah.
I think I want to agree with you, Israel. And this is coming from Bogolo. He says, Aisha, tell me your side of the story. Would you do one yourself? I don't understand what you're talking about. Are you relating it to the research that I'll marry someone who is so... I don't get to, please come again and I'll give you a response.
Yeah, but tell him that you're married already.
Says, it's a good deal because we have something we call implicit and explicit, and that counts on the energy. Okay, he's talking about the job issue, and the messages are still coming. They've not landed yet. And Mr. Bello from Techiman says, we can never eradicate poverty in Ghana if our leaders do not stop the politics of monumental infrastructure politics, whether they are needed or not. Why build 200 SHS when 200,000 graduates are jobless? And that's coming from Mr. Bello. And okay, Mohammed from Salaga says, I disagree with them, but it's not about maturity and intelligence, but rather I see it to be about understanding. Aisha, so wait for me. Okay, I'll wait for you. And this one says, please, Aisha, marriage is man and woman coming together. A share of love, understanding, not age difference. Okay, and the final one is, Aisha, I disagree because marriage is all who you really love, not size or something. Okay, and it's coming from Yakubo. So let's check our trending video for this evening.
All right, so
this
is the video I was telling you about. Okay.
I can't think far. I can't think far for no. Home with my pa. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is for there. We can think far. We can think far. We can think far.
Okay.
So what was he trying to do?
I don't know. That's why it's called unscripted. You're not supposed to talk about it.
I can't think far. I can't think far for no. Home with my pa. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is for there. We can think far. We can think far. We can think far.
All right, let's get to check out some of the comments that I can. Prosper says, is it not the same NDC where the Deputy General Secretary told us that they don't watch Kumawood movies, but they only know John Dumelo movies? So how come they got to know this term? I don't think far. And Prince says, Ufosampofo's facial expression tells the whole story. He doesn't know which side he belongs, whether I can think far, why I think far or I can't think far. Confusion, I think we should just play. It's true.
Yeah.
The expression of Ufosampofo is interesting.
So let's
play and pay attention to Ufosampofo. He's standing somewhere behind the Vice President.
I can't think far. I can't think far for no. Home with my pa. Oh yeah. Yeah, this is for there. We can think far. We can think far. We can think far.
All right, and Smarts Bredu says, so you are that's what happens when someone who should be campaigning on economic issues decides to take the rough turf. My humble advice to be, please pause. Why? And Fitzgerald, he says the president is in the Volta region commissioning water projects and new community day schools. But no, is this useless thing you are interested in? Okay, well, we've talked about the president's visit, Fitzgerald. We've talked about that already.
That's a trending video.
And this video is on social media. Please, get a life. High Life Governor says, these people really can't think far because change is coming and Nanado is thinking far, but the NDC are not seeing it. Okay, all right.
So we can check our trending picture for this evening? Okay, so the question is, which punishment you enjoyed the most?
Now, which of these punishments did you hate the most during your school days? Okay, so which one? You choose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aisha, which one? I didn't like any of them, but well, I didn't mind kneeling in the corner and facing the wall.
Facing the wall is something. I mean, let me kneel in the corner and still see, because me, those times, you know what I used to do? When you ask me to kneel in the corner and face the wall and you're asking a question, I'll turn and say, Madam, me. And I'll raise my hand. I used to irritate them a lot.
Yeah.
And that's where we draw the curtains on the interactive segment. My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Enjoy your evening.